It's incredibly powerful at this moment in time, in fact, because we live in what I like to call the values economy. I firmly believe we've left the gig economy, the sharing economy, the experience economy. We've left all that stuff behind. Today we live in the values economy, and all you need if you need some proof of this, is just turn on the television. Every story on the evening news is about groups of people standing up and saying, here's my values and I'm behaving this way, and I don't care what your values are, you behave the way you want. Look at the politics in the United States right now. One group of people saying, these are my values, another group of people saying, these are my values, and they don't seem to be able to agree on very much because they're sticking with their values. Look what's happening in the consumer world right now. We see companies that are crashing and burning when they're caught values washing. I can think of one clothing company in particular, I won't name names, but this company spent a whole bunch of money putting all kinds of information on the little tags on all the clothes in their stores all over the world that said how environmentally friendly each piece of clothing was and whether it was made with how much water and all these different kinds of, whether it was a fair trade cotton and all this kind of stats. Well, independent fact checkers went in, found out that most of it was hogwash, and their stock price tumbled overnight. They were caught out values washing. Look at another company like Patagonia, on the other side of the scale, everybody's favorite values-driven organization. Here's a company that for the last 20, 30 years has been slowly but surely trying to figure out what the values of their consumers are, to the point where the guy who founded the place about a year and a half ago stood up and said, you know what, I'm old, I'm rich, I don't need any more money, I'm going to give my company to the planet. From this point forward, every dollar that this company makes is going to go fund environmental issues and environmental causes. That's the biggest values-driven mic drop in history. Imagine waking up the next morning as the vice president of marketing for North Face and going, wow, what do I do with that? And if you look back in history at the timeline of that moment, the day after, the week after that announcement from Patagonia, every other company in their competitive set stood up and made some big giant donation to something. They were all just writing checks and going, me too, I did it too, me too, I did it too. Values are driving the conversation about whether we work from home or not, about whether we're quiet quitting or not, about whether we're going to be engaged in our work or not. Values are driving everybody to do everything that they do. We live in the values economy now. They are the most powerful force on earth. They drive all of us to make millions of decisions all day long, 24/7, 365, and yet the best tool we've had to understand values and leverage values is what I call values poetry. Because we all just get to pick pretty words. Say, my values are joy and happiness and elation and family and love and kittens and unicorns. And if we all are using whatever word we want to talk about our values, if we're all just saying whatever comes to mind, even if it's a heartfelt attempt to be truthful and honest, how can we ever communicate about the most powerful force on earth? So that's what my company did. We went and turned values into data. We've done, as I've mentioned, 1 million surveys now around the world, long-form question and answer surveys with 1 million people in 152 different languages across 180 countries, and we built the world's first accurate global inventory of shared human values. And I love saying that, because even if I don't ever get to say anything else, we now know what everybody cares about all around the world. For sure what they care about. Not what politicians say they care about or lobby groups say they care about, but what people truly care about deep inside their hearts. We have data now about this. I think that's a wonderful, remarkable moment in time for us to mark. And while we were doing this work, we found 3 really, really big important things, and I want to share these with you. I could talk about this database and all the things we found for the rest of my life. It's so fascinating to have this amazing toy, this values data. But I found 3 really big things that you need to understand about. The first thing is that demographic groups, any demographic cohort that you want to name, age, gender, income, marital status, number of kids, education, all of those familiar labels, the people within those groups, they're only about 10% similar to each other. So when you say, Gen Z wants this, Gen Z believes that, it's wrong. Only about 10% of them are ever going to agree on anything at any given point in time. Doesn't matter what you say. Boomers want this. Men are like that. Women are like this. Boomer women who earn $120,000 a year, that's 3 groups of people who agree with each other about 10% of the time, stacked on top of each other, into a larger group of people who agrees with each other about 10% of the time. But each one of those groups of people You're 90% wrong. If we use demographics to try and understand people, at best, you're going to be about 10% right. Put people in groups based on their shared values, however. Think back to what we did a few moments ago about your own values. Demographically dissimilar, the people who are wearing Fitbits and rings and watches, demographically you don't resemble each other at all. But on the inside, you're all the same. In fact, valuographic groups are about 89% similar. And here's the best thing of all, I think, that we found. There's only 56 values. Think about all the humans, getting up to 9 billion people around the world, making decisions about everything they do all day long, and there's only 56 things that drive us. There's only 56 buttons we need to know how to push. That's it. It's not very many. To put it into context, there's 88 keys on a piano keyboard. It's much more difficult to learn how to play Happy Birthday on the piano than it is to understand the sum total of human existence and what's driving all of us to do everything we do all day long. 56. That's the magic number.